Welcome back to my channel. It's Rene Marcus. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And if you're new to my channel, please do me that favor and press that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe. Guys, so today I've got a brother here from the States, and he's here to talk about his experience in America. And I have been reading the comments, such, I don't even know, should I say amazing comments or... because I think a lot of my brothers and sisters don't actually understand how Rene Marcus actually works. I don't think you guys do. So I don't have to say it anymore that I don't hate African Americans. And the reason why I'm doing this dialogue today with my brother here, it's because we want us to unite. We need Africans to unite. We need to join hands and do things together. So if you don't understand where I'm coming from, then you will never understand Rene Marcus. So you need to understand that I don't hate anyone. And whether you're Gambian, whether you're African Americans, even if you've done something wrong to me, that still doesn't give me the reason to hate you. I don't hate anyone. So your opinion is your opinion, just like my opinion is my opinion. That's what I have to say to everyone out there. So I'm just going to let you to introduce yourself, and then we can take it from there.
Okay. So my name is Colson Nicholas, and I am of the diaspora, I guess. I'm originally from Haiti, born and raised until the age of about 7. And around, I think it was 2001, on December, that's when we emigrated into the United States. So if you guys remember 2001, we came in December, 9/11, September. So it's pretty scary, you get on that plane and then when the plane landed, everybody's, doing their prayers.
Clapping as well.
Yes, a lot of clapping, and it was scary. And as a kid, we had a little bit of family in the States. I lived in New York, so so we were full aware of what was going on because we were calling and checking in on them. And also that's where, we were a little fearful. Is that going to happen to us? And me as a kid thinking, oh my God, are they going to take another plane and hit our plane or, things like that.
Today, when I travel, I'm still scared. I'm just scared because you can never tell what can happen. It can be that plane that you're actually in.
Yeah, so, you don't really have much say when you're on an airplane. If you're going to die, you're pretty much probably going to die.
You just have to pray. Take your Bible or your Quran and just start praying. Hopefully that you will land safe. That's it, really. It's all about risking it. Yes. Okay.
Right, so as far as my experience goes, so I came into the States, and when we came, it was me, my dad, and my sister. It was just the two of us. Unfortunately, Mom wasn't able to come due to the fact that it was my grandpa that was in the States, and he added my dad to the application. Now, my dad was initially could have came with him, but he was too old. I think at that time he was probably like 24, 23-ish. And once you're over the age of 21, you're an adult, in the States, that creates complications. Now, if he was under the right age, whether it was 18 or 21 at the time, right away they would have pushed his application through so that he can come with his dad.
That's just like in the Western as well. So in Europe as well, it's the same. So if you're applying for a visa, your parents are inviting you. If you're younger, it's easier than if you're older. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's a good thing that didn't happen because I might have not been here talking to you guys. So so that's a plus. But it was a transition. I came here, I think I started 2nd grade, but back in Haiti, we started school at 3 years old, and I already graduated the 2nd grade over there, but my dad was in no rush, and he did realize that, I was ahead of my class. So then I actually had to do the 2nd grade again in this country. Then, they put me into their ESOL program, which was basically a class for English, speaking, teach you how to speak English and things like that.
You did mention that. So what language do you actually speak then in Haiti?
So quick backstory, because you guys may not know. So I speak Creole. So Creole is I'm not sure if they've made it a national language yet. They should. But the for a while it's French. So Creole is actually the French word for patois. You know, so you have Jamaicans. You know, they have a form of patois of the English, and some people even refer this English that I'm speaking right now as a form of patois to you know, your side of the country's language. You know, Great Britain, things like that. So it's actually a combination of like 3 to 4 different languages. You know, do you have your some of your African dialects in there? You know, we have Spanish, you know, because of the native Tuano, Spain, and then of course you have a great portion, majority of it is French, you know, things like that. Now, but they are very different. You know, I understand a little bit of French and things like that. You know, so I guess if I were to move to France or something like that, and I'd probably, and I said 2 3 months, I'd probably do just fine.
Okay, that's good. I'm still learning French.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
there yet.
oh yeah, so and we're located in the Caribbean. A lot of people don't realize that, and just because of the information floating around.
Actually, yes, because I had to Google it this morning
Yeah.
and I found out that it's actually in the Caribbeans as well. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Seriously, didn't.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. When I went away to college, I was in Ohio. Kids asked me, you know, where is Haiti? I've never met a Haitian before, and a few of them thought it was
I haven't met one as well before.
yeah, in the continent. So they actually thought Haiti was part of one of the countries in on the African continent, you know, and things like that. But so quick little history. So Haiti is the first liberated nation, you can say, black liberated nation in the world. You know, we won our independence from, I would say, the 3 biggest superpowers at that time. So we had to go to war to win our independence. For 13-year long war, we fought France, British, and I think Italy, and at some point Portugal. But then, you know, things happen. I think some of those guys actually switched sides and joined in with us, you know, things like that. But I mean, I mean, for Haiti, it's been really tough. You know, we have a lot of struggles since the inception of our country in 1804. I think the war started in something like 1793, you know, things like that. It started sooner where we had, you know, smaller rebellion, but we really kicked it off in 1793 when we got, you know, really organized, and that's when we had what's it called? We had a prayer, and it was really in the middle of interesting, really in the middle of a alligator, I would say alligator swamp, because we didn't want the slave masters, you know, to go in there, and they wouldn't go in there, you know, because they might be, you know, alligators and things like that. And the guy that led the prayer his name was Duty Bookman, and he was actually a Muslim, and he came over from Jamaica, right? So,
Muslim from Jamaica.
huh?
Did you say a Muslim from Jamaica?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay.
He got the name Bookman. The story goes, because he had a Quran. His mother was actually very revolutionary, and as a punishment, they sold him into slavery. So he had the Quran with him, and he didn't want to let go of it. So then they ended up burning the book onto him, right? And then it left the mark, and the mark of the book, you know, Bookman, and that's how he got the name Bookman, you know, things like that. But as far as that goes, I mean, we're a struggling nation, but we are very, very prideful with our heritage. You know, even though things haven't, you know, gone for us, you know, steadily good in the past. You know, and right away when we won our independence, we let others know. Listen, if you come and escape to Haiti, you will have freedom, and we will protect that freedom. You know, through war or however. And we also helped other countries when their independence, Cuba, Venezuela, who at that time was a much bigger territory, you know, so Venezuela and Colombia, all throughout Latin America, you know, things like that, you know, which if it goes even further, recently you guys probably saw how Greece tossed overboard 1,000 of our brothers and sisters in the middle of the ocean, right?
Yes.
Get this.
I've seen that.
So when Greece was fighting for independence, they wrote us a letter, and Haiti, if not the first, one of the first people who backed Greece and their fight for independence. We gave them soldiers, we gave them guns, we gave them money, and we gave them, I think, something like 5 to 10 tons of coffee, because coffee was really, it was really high money back then. So then they can buy even more weapons for their guns, things like that. And moving forward, and this is how they do us, this is how they treat us, things like that. So then that's where the Haitian mindset is. We're very resilient, strong. We try to always walk with our heads high, because we realize that we sparked something that may have changed the world. A lot of people at the time didn't think it was possible. We showed them it was possible. There's only been a few countries though that still treat us with a bit of dignity. You have Cuba, and you have Venezuela, who's really stood by us, through all the U.S. intervention and things like that.
That's really good. I'm so happy that you're so proud of where you're from and you know so much about your country, especially the history. So I can see some of my subscribers already can't wait for you to tell them about your experience in America. So let's dive right into it. So as a young boy, you then traveled to a completely different country. And what were your expectations before you moved to America? So when you were told that you're actually going, what was the expectation? What did you expect to see? Just tell me your thoughts about that.
Okay, so the expectation was this. So oddly enough, as much as a lot of people in the States don't know about much Haiti, we're right around the corner. We're like, it's a 30-minute, 45-minute flight. So there's states, there's flights in the U.S. Majority of the flights in the U.S. are further away, from the state of Florida, where Haiti's really located right there in the Caribbean. But my expectation was, U.S. is one of the biggest propaganda machines of the globe. So everything I was expecting to find, money on the ground. And as a kid, you talk about
what you used to see in movies. That's why you thought that.
You guys, like, money grows on trees. Like, you can just go out there and pick $100 bill and send it back home. Things like that. And as a kid, you always more interested with the toys. So we're expecting life-size dolls talking to us. Things like that.
Things that you always see on cartoons and stuff.
Right. So then when I came, it was definitely a culture shock, right? So because I came at a time where it was early 2000s, and we started migrating in around 1980s, which usually was during the Duvalier regime, which was a dictator, and then this country got passed down to his son, and things like that. And he was also a dictator for a while until he got exiled. So under Duvalier, he was a terrible dictator, and that's and this is the thing you guys are gonna have to keep in mind now. Miseducation is worse than being not educated at all, because when you're miseducated, the information already sticks, and he has all these emotional ties to it. It becomes very difficult, to reverse that, right? But you'll talk to most Haitian parents; they'll tell you how good and how great that Duvalier was as a president. Well, once you start learning about him, you find that he's the first one who started practicing propaganda. You had music videos and music playing on the radio, singing his name, and things like that, and he made it very, very difficult for intellectual Haitians to function in the country. So a lot of us started fleeing. A lot of us actually came some parts here in the continent, Africa, and a lot of us, of course, went to the States because it was closer, So and a lot of us were coming illegally, right? So you have you have racism that's running rampant during those times in the U.S., and you have blacks who are coming in illegally, right? And we're coming in with the stigma of basically we're better than African Americans. A lot of us won't admit it, but we came from that position that we felt like we're better than them. Why did we feel like that? One, we realized, oh, we did something that changed the world, changed the course of history of the world, right? And then two, well, African Americans weren't being shown in a very good light, in the as far as the movies, the news, things like that. So right off the bat, when I came in, my dad told me, I don't want you hanging out with, African Americans, they're dreadheads, that because Haitians are
Can I
very.
just stop you on there, on that, please? When you said when you moved over to the States and your
Mhm.
dad just basically sit you down and said, I don't want you to hang around with African Americans. How did you feel? Did you question yourself? Did you question your dad? What
Um,
was going through your mind at the time?
my dad is real strict, so if I question him, I wasn't gonna tell him to his face. I don't agree with you, Dad.
That's like African parents.
Yeah. So I took it, but I took it with a grain of salt, and I'm like, I mean, I took it. I'm like, okay, Dad, I understand. Plus, at that time, what people gotta have to understand is we're in a new land. We don't speak the language, so the last thing you need are any problems because you can't even articulate yourself well to get out of that situation or that misunderstanding, you know, and things like that. So then I started going to school, and then right off the bat, I'm like, Dad, I mean, you saying African Americans this, yeah, there's some that are bad, but it's not all of them, and a lot of it also it was just culture difference. African Americans were okay with dreads. For whatever reason, we shunned away from that. Actually, I know exactly the reason. We took after the French. The French, in the European world, they're the preppy boys, we sir, mon monsieur, you can't tell them anything, you know what I mean? They feel like
That's
they're the
true.
best. And if you speak their language, you better speak it well, you better speak it correctly, or else they will, look down on you, and that's the stuff that was floating around still left, even though we kicked them out, but that stuff is still floating around in our psyche, right? So when we see pants are being worn differently, and we have our pants tucked in, thinking like we're gentlemen of gentlemen, stuff like that. But moving forward, we were in for a pretty rude awakening call. We just realized, like, listen, no, you're black just like the rest of us. Because when I first came here, I didn't realize I was a black man. I just realized I was a man. I know I was a boy.
But
You know.
why? In Haiti, wasn't there like white people, Asian? Can you just go back onto
So
that
in
and tell
Haiti,
me?
so in Haiti, we did have white people. We do have white people. We have missionaries that are coming in, bringing their Christianity and things like that. It's a different topic for a different time, you know. But it's just like us black people. We're welcoming of other people. We are welcoming of differences. We are intrigued with people that don't look like us. Things like that. So and then so there isn't racism, although we want our independence from white people. You will never see Haitians terrorizing white people, or
That's exactly like Africa.
yeah, things like
I
that.
always say there's nothing like systematic racism in my country. So
Right,
I
right.
always say that whether people agree or disagree, we just live happily together.
Exactly.
So
And
yeah,
yeah, and then it was a well-known fact throughout and it became, as we move forward, and this is with us with our because I feel like we sometimes judge ourselves too harsh, because even moving forward, we're saying our leaders are weak. True, some of it is our leaders, but it became clear, especially when we're so close to the United States, that they kept meddling in our business. We had a first Democratic elected president, I think it was named Jean Bentrave Aristide, super smart. Dude spoke like 7 languages fluently at that time. This was probably like the 90s and leading up to 01s. And 2 times he was exiled. The only president, that the majority supported. And he was talking about inclusion. It's basically including everybody into the wealth, the money that the country was making, things like that. And he was exiled actually to I think South Africa, where he probably taught. I think he was a professor, but super smart. I think he speaks probably like 14 languages right now. Yeah,
say 14.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He's very smart. That guy's ego is well, not his ego, his mind. He's very, very smart. But yeah, as far as racism, it was well known. It became basically apparent. Okay, like these people are messing us up, but yet for whatever reason, we never attacked nobody. We never, like shunned them or pushed them into a corner. As recently as 2018, because I did a long time without going back to Haiti. And then when I did go back, I went to the countryside town where my dad's from, right? And there were Europeans living there, living there, bought land, their kids own land. And I didn't believe it. I'm like, are you sure there's white people here? They're like, yeah, they live right across the street. And oddly enough, here comes a young lady, hair blowing in the wind. She gets on her motorcycle, puts those nice cool shades on, and and then she was off. And I was over here just like, wow. And that really opened up my eyes. I'm like, okay, I need to get back home. Like, we can't, they're gonna buy the whole place up and we won't have nowhere to go. Like, we need, all of our countries need investors now more than ever. It's either we do it or somebody's gonna do it for us.
If we don't do it, at the end of the day, someone else is going to do it for us, and then we're going to end up being foreigners in our own countries, which that's not what we want.
Exactly. And the worst part is the money doesn't get circulated back into the country. It goes, elsewhere. That's the thing also.
Yeah.
But,
So
so yeah, so then, we didn't really have much racism. I mean, now it's a little bit more diverse. We have Cubans starting to go over there. They start to do business with us a little bit, but still, people just live their lives. We know the U.S.
that's good. So in regards to your experience in the States,
What was your question?
Have you ever basically had any issues with African Americans because of your looks or because of your accent? Because you did mention that you had to learn English. Now I can't tell whether you're from Haiti or from, well, all I can tell is that you've got a proper American accent. But at the start, how was it challenging for you to actually learn the language? Well, learn English at the start.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm losing you. I can't hear you. I'm not sure whether you can hear me. Yes, I think you're back. I think you're gone again.
At the start, it really so here's they're very difficult language because I know the Hispanics really struggle with it and things like that. But to be honest, um, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you now.
I
Yes,
think
you
it's
can
just a
go
little
on.
delayed, but I can hear you. Um, Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think it's just late, so I'll just listen in.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so yeah, it was tough at first, but believe it or not, a lot of the bullying I was getting, the majority of it was coming from. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of the bullying I was getting were actually from you know other Haitians, Haitians, Haitian kids that are born here, Haitian Americans. They were calling me things like Bo. That's what they would call
Okay,
us.
I think the viewers are struggling to
Which
hear you
oddly
as
enough, that
well.
didn't make sense to me, because if there was somebody that was a boat, it was their parents, because they came during, like I said, that era of, Duvalier, where they some of them, they come in on cruise ships and small boats and things like that. But and of course, I got the same from African Americans. But so it was really from both sides.
Okay, I'm just gonna wait for him to call back in because he's actually gone due to the fact that we can't hear him properly. Is it any better?
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Okay,
little bit better.
perfect.
Okay,
Okay,
so yeah. Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you now perfectly. Okay, it's back to normal. So the question was, what issues did you had as a young child growing in the States? You did mention things like bullying and stuff, but we could not hear you properly. So if you can just repeat that again for us to understand a bit more, please.
Okay, so I was being bullied. A lot of it was coming from fellow Haitians. Sad to say, Haitians are born in the States. They would use terms like boat, things like
Yes.
that. You're a boat, which basically meant like you came on a boat. Which oddly enough, their parents are the ones that actually came on a boat, because they came during that Duvalier regime illegally. I came on a plane, so that didn't make sense to me. But it was like that, and plus there was not really a sense of pride and culture. Because they themselves didn't know much about Haiti. They were born here, and they were seeing the same things. The African Americans were seeing. And I was around them more. They were seeing that Haiti was poor. Things like, they were seeing things like voodoo. You know what I'm saying? So that's also the thing. We also have this voodoo that we worship Satan stigma on us since we won our independence, which to
That's
me
in
it
Africa
just
too.
shows
So
the I'm sorry.
that's in Africa too, the voodoo thing that you were talking about worshiping Satan and stuff.
Yeah, yep. And to me, I always felt like, if we had lost the war, would it really mattered what religion we practiced? If we had lost, would it really mattered? you know and I feel like that was part of it too, to get the that voodoo essence, that religion out of there, because voodoo says if somebody takes your eye, you can take their eye, things like that. It is understood that it's a universal law to defend yourself. Somebody's coming to attack you or do you harm, you're allowed to defend yourself, things like that. But then moving forward, um I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that I agree. So
Moving
how
forward,
about
as I
now?
started getting
Yeah.
adjusted to the language, now it's fine. So, but a lot has changed. There's been more of influx of Haitian, and there's been a lot better information available. So we went from being picked on. Now we actually were the first ones who made it cool in the States to wear your native flag, the flags of Haiti. You know what I'm saying? Then all the rest followed, like Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cubans, and things like that. Because when we got enough of us here, we were like, man, what is this? We're Haitian. You know what I'm saying? We changed the world. I mean, we should not look down. We should not let anybody look down on us. At the end of the day, they owe us. We don't owe them. And things like that. That was the mindset. And with our coat of arms, it actually says "La union fait la force." Really says together we're strong. So we used that, that saying, and really ran with it. A lot of people think, because we overcame a lot and we stuck together. That's the thing, that we stuck together. A lot of us, a lot of people think we are more of the U.S. population than we are, because of the things we've been able to accomplish, because we only make up about 0 point some percent of the U.S. population. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't think that though, because we've able to, overcame and actually, I'd say climb up the social ladder, a bit.
I've got Gina on the line. Hi, Gina.
Hello, family. How are you?
All right, thank you.
I wanted to get on board with my Haitian brother. Qui j'en yeti? Qui j'en ye? Sak passe? Mwa bay moun yo information. Map suiv. Okay, just hollering at him. But I just wanted to elaborate on something that he said about our relationships with African Americans.
Negla, non a boule.
Piti. It looks like there's a delay. Oui. Could you guys hear me? Are you hearing him at the same time?
I can hear you. I'm not sure whether he hears you at the same time, but I can.
Okay. Yeah, but to elaborate on our relationships with African American, and I was born in New Jersey, but I spent many years going back and forth to Haiti, so I'm very familiar with Haiti as well.
Yeah, there is a delay, but
yeah, there's a huge delay. But what I wanted to say was, and what I wanted to clarify was, I don't think our relationship with African American was any different than our relationship with ourselves. The self-loathing, self-hating, divisiveness, it goes on throughout all Black nations. It's in Africa, it's in Haiti, it's in Jamaica, it's in America, it's in UK, it's everywhere. We tend to do a lot of self-loathing, self-divisiveness. It really gets us nowhere. We're a laughing stock, and people, find it very convenient because they use it as a tool to separate us as a people. What I can say about being teased, if I'm very honest with you, children, and I think children on all levels can be very mean.
Correct.
I don't think if you were a child and you were in school, you saw either you were the mean child or you were someone was being mean to you. That's the reality.
I've been through that in the UK. I've been through that in the UK through school. I've been through that as an African. So it's not just in the States. I think this happens everywhere. And I've had stories as well.
What I'm learning though, with our people is that we tend to we play this hating each other part too well. We don't hate each other. We're divided. There's a lot to learn. Like the young man said when he was in Haiti, or when he first came, it was a little different. But the more he got to know the people that his father told him not to interact with, he was like, wait a minute, they're the same as us. There's good people, there's bad people, like if you look at the Gambia now, there's good people, there's good Americans and bad Americans, that have gone to the Gambia. And that's the reality of it. And but that's the reality for Gambians in the Gambia, or people in New York, or people in UK. It's just there's good and bad people. It's just strange that it seems like more amplification is made to the negative. And we need to stop that. Because see, when you give negative light, you're giving it a power. You're giving it an energy that it does not deserve. And I really look forward to the time where we as a people can take, because energy is life. It's just like this whole negativity going on in the Gambia right now. It's being given life. And those of us that are giving it life or amplifying it are doing a disservice. Amplify what is good. That's what we need to do. But another thing I wanted to bring up is I'm very excited because I am going to the Gambia. I've already bought my lands through Juliet. Shout out to Juliet and Adrian with Blacksit. I love them.
We all love them. They're absolutely amazing people doing well in the Gambia. So proud of them.
But I wanted to say that I don't know. I saw someone in the comment disputing the fact that Doti Bookman was a Senegambian. He was definitely a Senegambian, a slave bought from Senegambia to the island of Jamaica. And then at a certain age, he was sold to the island of Haiti. The Gambia plays a very big part in the revolutionary process for all Blacks throughout the world. It issued the first revolutionary that basically, fought the only war that won to date. That's why Gambia is so special to me. A lot of people talk about Kunta Kinte, but they don't know about Doti Bookman, which was, one of the most amazing revolutionaries that ever, came from as a slave from Gambia. And when I bring this up, I also want to bring up, this should bring us closer. This talk about Doti Bookman, because what it does is it enhances the fact that we are you. The same people that were taken out of Africa are the same people returning. We're going to need a lot of patience, exactly. God. There's a lot of ugly. Right. There is a lot of distortion. Some people are truly broken. And most of us are broken in different ways. It's like having family and you have that one person that you have to just be like, I'm going to feed him with a long spoon.
Yeah.
But I will not let him starve. That's the concept. That's the context. And I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. The thing is with me, I just don't understand where the hate is coming from with us, the Africans. I seriously don't, because what I get to understand is that once you send out a message out there, everyone gets to see it in a different way. And instead of them asking you a question, why are you seeing it on this angle? No, they're going to end up basically attacking you to make things worse instead of bringing peace together. Because we all can teach each other to understand each other on a level. Because I don't see the point.
Amazing work. I think you're an amazing, patriotic Gambian, and well done for you for defending your country. I think that Gambians need to demand that people respect their country and their culture. When you enter the Gambia, you are having the privilege of going to their country, and it's only fair that you respect the culture. And I just think that it's a detriment having broken people who hate Africa, who've been trained to hate Africa.
Why are they going to Africa if they hate Africa, if they're broken? Because I get to see a lot of people saying, oh, you Africans sold us, you Africans this. But wait, why are you thinking that way?
Yeah, well, it looks like you two are in agreement, so I'll answer the question to why.
Yeah, I feel
you are in agreement. And since I tend to be the person not in agreement, let me answer.
Because I feel these people are agents, Rene. I feel they're working for imperialistic ambitions of coming into the continent. They're using these people who look like us, but have an agenda to bring other people into the continent. So I see past that. I mean, Africans aren't stupid. We're very smart, civilized.
I will continue the discussions only if it's one of those kind of discussions where we can give and take. But I don't do.
And then I will go after the
but I'm not going to go back.
Go first.
As an African, Rene, I will never I would never think about going to my neighboring country, because I am an African, a native African. I understand the culture. I understand the tribe. I will never think about going to the neighboring country and say, let's go over there. Let's go there invasion style, following a colonizer mindset, which is very European. That is how they've done it.
Well, ma'am,
that's how they've conquered the globe. And they're using the same method, like Art Catty is using the same method as her oppressor.
I'm not here to discuss that.
Okay, we're not going to discuss about Art Cathy. Okay, this channel is not for Art Cathy.
Because I truly feel like if you want to discuss her, you go on her channel.
You can go, and then I will go.
You.
And
I did not. The only reason I came on this channel is because I have a Haitian on here, and I always represent my people.
Okay,
I'm not here to discuss anyone else.
I support you. You're a young woman
in my country, which is Haiti.
Like you, globally, who defends what you've done, and good on you. Keep it up.
Thank you. All right, Gina.
You can put on mute, and I'll be more than happy to respond, because I can't do with the cutting off, and that's just not the way mature people communicate.
See, here again, that's like the Western mindset has messed up their common sense, where they think that they know more than the Africans. It's so disgusting. The brainwashing in the Western land is just beyond repair. And I think, does Africa want people like that in the continent? No. We need to close up our border. If you want to live in the continent, respect the language, respect the culture, think like the African.
But you're not respecting your host. She's asked you to let me speak a couple of times. Respect Renee. This is her channel.
Mindset. It's only fair, as we Africans are just as patriotic. You know,
I understand where you're coming from, Rising Black. So let's listen to Gina, what she has to say, because I think she's got some great points.
Okay.
And then I will go.
Okay, so right now, this is Gina. My name is Gina. I am not Art Carthy or Kathy. I'm not even sure what her name is. But
if we want to talk about Art Kathy, we need to go onto her channel.
Thank you. Okay, that being said, going back to what I was talking about. See, there's different ways of being divisive, as far as I'm concerned. What happened to Haiti and the presidents that was sent was done in Haiti. You're right. There was not a lot of Europeans in Haiti at a certain time. But the Europeans that do come, or the people of other races that do come, are usually missionaries. And missionaries are usually nice. They come with a giving spirit. But, you know, in actuality, like he said, there's a hidden hand that's always causing turmoil. And so that being said, we have to, as a people, start paying attention to that. You're right. I don't have a problem with, I know that there's good Black and white and all kinds of people in this world, but you know, the kind of people that are good will do good things. And the kind of people that are not good are not doing good things. And we have to be realistic. There's been more bad people that's come from other nations that's done terrible things. They've depleted Haiti. I can't speak for other places. I've not really even been to Africa yet. So I'll speak for Haiti. It's been a depletion of our resources, of our strength. They bought guns, you know, because Haitians don't build guns. We don't make those things. Those things are bought to us. You know what I mean? And that being said, for that purpose, yeah, it's divisiveness. They bring divisiveness to the country, to the island. Now, in reference to my feelings about African Americans, or my feelings about Africans, because I'm Haitian, so that's a whole different beast. I feel like I've gotten negativity from even Haitians. I've gotten it from Haitians. I've gotten it from Africans. I've gotten it from African Americans. You get negativity from negative people. You can't put a label on that particular people. There has been great African Americans that has done great things that has affected or impacted us all.
I agree.
And we need to pay attention to that. You can't be angry at a whole group of people because of one individual. That's unrealistic. And another thing I would like to bring to light is, you know, sometimes the people that are angry at one person and blaming a whole race of people for it, or a whole group of people for it, they're broken as well. And that's just all I'm saying.
And I think we should actually parents should actually learn from this, because it all starts from parents. Because whatever you actually teach your child, that's what the child is actually going to grow up with. So in order for us to be together, I think parents really need to work on this, to teach their children the right thing, rather than basically giving them the wrong information, which then when they go out there or grow up with those information, that will then be something that will damage them and end up hurting their loved ones as well, because this is the reason why quite a lot of African Americans don't actually get on with Africans in the continent. But with me, I'm absolutely ready to do whatever to connect everyone together. That's what I'm here for.
You know, Renee, I have to tell you that me wanting to go back to Africa has nothing to do with land or the ocean. I'm going back to Africa to be with Africans. And for the most part, I can tell you that most Africans that are going to Africa want to be with their people, for the most part. Now, if you want to look at that one little category of negativity, you could stare at that all day. But when you have a room full of goodness, why look at that? Stop giving it energy. Let's talk about things that uplift us, things that can build us. How can we improve upon our situation, and how can we bridge this?
Okay, so I would like to go.
Okay, yes, you can go ahead.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm not sure whether it's me or Coulson, but nice to meet you too.
Okay, so
okay, no one can hear you again.
They're leaving family behind here too.
It looks
it's
like
gone again. I'm not sure why his connection is so bad.
I thought he said he was going. That's why I said nice to meet you. But
oh, okay. No, he wanted to speak, but hopefully he'll be back again, because this live stream was meant to last for 45 minutes. Let's just see what he has to say again.
It looks like he has a delay with his internet.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so what I like to say is, first of all, you know, we can be so harsh when judging ourselves. And I'm talking about Black people in general, right? Because this is what I really wanted to say, right? Now, African Americans have done great things, you know, outside of, you know, Haiti's Revolutionary War and the US. It was an African American that developed the first locomotive engine, right? It was an African American that came up with the assembly line and that Ford was able to mass produce all these cars, right? It was an African American, Lewis Lattimore, that developed the light bulb that we use today, because Thomas Edison's light bulb was burning up too quick. You know what I'm saying? It was an African American that developed the first refrigerated van for the ice cream trucks. You see what I'm saying? Like, the list goes on. The street lights, it goes on. At one point, African Americans, I'm gonna say Africans in America held something like 60% of all patents. You understand? Now the question is,
and you know what?
I want to say this while
you're saying
right?
that.
We're doing all these great things. We're doing revolutionary things that's changing the social economic order of civilization as we know it, right? What happened? Where did we as a people go wrong? You know, and why are there communities like this? This is the question we need to ask.
I wanted to say one thing. You're right. It was African Americans that did all these things. But first and foremost, Africans on the continent need to understand that they are Africans first. So what an African American do?
You were going to say something, Gina?
What an African Haitian did, an African did that. We are Africans. We are African. We're just born on a different piece of earth. But the earth that we come from, the soil that we were created of, is Africa, just like our sisters and brothers on the continent. So that is the most important thing, because you see, once we get the understanding that we are one,
not the same,
there's nothing stronger than that.
Absolutely. I agree with that. We are all Africans. Let's just forget about African American and all the others. Let's just say we're African and try to move on.
Well, Renee, like I have a show that I have to get ready for. I want to thank you guys for letting me come on today. I said I was going to come on to your channel. I always wanted to step in and show some love. Moving forward, hopefully I can have you come on my show as well. Nice to meet you, brother.
Absolutely.
Okay, have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Okay, I think, do you have
So
anything
what
else to say?
I also wanted to
Okay, he's gone anyway. So this live stream was meant to last for 45 minutes, but we've basically made it up to 50 minutes. So I've come up to the end of it, and thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today. Really appreciate all the comments, and I have been reading on the side as well. So trying to listen and read, it's hard, but I have to do it. Thank you so much. And if anyone is interested to be part of my channel, please do not hesitate to send me an email, and we can schedule a dialogue together. So that was everything that I had to say.
No, so I have a lot to say. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes to wrap up.
Give me five.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing, right? And I know we're looking at it from the same scope, like I said. So we all want to wonder, where is it coming from? African Americans are lazy, or African Americans are this, African Americans are that. So this is actually what took place after slavery. I'm going to say Africans. So these Africans were let go in 1865, right? So right off the bat, the U.S. had an influx of police officers, and they were being arrested for just petty stuff, not having a place to live, things like that. You'll be thrown in jail if you find sleeping outside. Mind you, you haven't given them 40 acres in a mule. You haven't given them reparations, right? And now you're arresting them for basically making it illegal to be poor, right? Regardless, we know how we Africans are. We will overcome, right? We stick together. We sing our songs, our freedom songs. We held hands. We overcome. Okay, moving forward. Now, we started setting up, towns, things like that to get on our foot. Communities and ourselves. One which I really want to talk about first, called the Devil's Punch Bowl in Mississippi, right? So it's a weird name, right? Weird name. So
Yes.
it was, the narrative is the U.S. went to war over slavery. It wasn't over slavery. It was over the South making too much money off slavery, and they were thinking about succeeding from the North. They wanted to separate. So then the war was already underway, and then Abraham Lincoln said, quote, "If I can win the war without freeing the slaves, I would do it." We have to put things into context. So the Devil's Punch Bowl, those same Union soldiers from the North that were supposed to be freeing slaves, circled this town and turned it into a concentration camp, killing over 20,000 women and children. I'm going to say it again, 20,000 women and children. I'm going to say women and children because some of the men, they took them out and sold them back into slavery. Now, moving forward, this went on for decades. Understand? They had Black Wall Street, right? Black Wall communities that the African Americans had. They had millionaires. They had schools. They had hospitals. They had private airplane hangars, right? And this went on to about 7 different towns. Something happened. This is what typically happens. Something happened with a white woman, or a black man touch a white woman, and suddenly 500 Africans are killed. Bombs are being dropped, things like that. And yet the government never compensated them or helped them rebuild. This went on for God knows how long, until they're in the situation they are now. 7 towns, over and over and over again, burning. The KKK was started solely to take land, the little land that was given to them. That's why the KKK really got started. They would go back in there and steal the land from the Africans that was given to them by the government, right? And mind you, it wasn't even good land. It was only after they started working the land and the land started, producing, that they would go in there and take it. We have to start putting things into context, right? Because they did do everything they were supposed to do. They did, were self-sufficient. And for me, I don't think a mob is that organized to have a machine gun on each end of the town and also get their hands on little planes and drop bombs onto people, onto Africans. Yet we remember 9/11. What I'm telling you right now, 90 to 95% of the U.S. population don't even know this. You know what I'm saying? We have to start to put things into context. Moving forward.
This is why we need people like you, because I'm learning a lot from you. Honestly, I am.
It gets to a point that it's borderline conspiracy. A lot of it is borderline conspiracy. You have things like the Tuskegee experiments from 1933 to 1934 to 1974. These doctors injected Africans with syphilis for 30 years. Syphilis, right? And watched them die, spread it amongst their children, amongst their women that they were sleeping with, right? And it was until last year they decided to basically launch an investigation or sue or whatever. Like they didn't know it was happening. It's things like that. You know what I'm saying? It was the U.S. government that was found guilty, exposed by Gary Webb, that shipped crack cocaine into the African communities in America. That needs to be talked about. And then it was the same government that went along and passed the same drug, that's passed laws against those very same drugs, right?
Okay. So what I'm going to do is cut this here because we've gone into 56 minutes. What we're going to do, if people really, really, truly want you back on this channel, they should give it a lot of likes and also say we want him back so that we can have you back on another discussion. So what do you think about that?
I feel like that would be great because, like I said, a lot of this stuff I'm saying, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. I didn't know they've only been able to vote the last 60 years. A lot of this needs to be put in context so we can understand, and then we'll start looking at it like, how come they haven't waged war on the Europeans? Well, they're Africans just like me and you. We're very passive. We try to be logical, especially when we go through an education system. We do away with the tribalism, right? We do away from any, stigma that we deem negative and try to do things logically, So, but like you said, if they want me back, like it, request me back.
I can already see people are saying we want him back. So definitely it's going to have a lot of likes and then we'll definitely have you back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they can email you as well. It's in the description box, your contact details.
Okay.
So whoever also wants to get in touch with you, they can do so.
Interested, you will see my email on the bottom here in the description. Shoot me an email. I have a very, very good documentary by Type Nasheed. It's very good. And you will learn so much from that documentary. When he made it, I was so happy. I'm like, because now I didn't have to read books. I have to keep looking for stuff. Everything was one context. You will learn about things like Benin, right? We talk about the Great Wall of China. Benin's wall at one point were 4 times that length. Understand? I'm going to put into perspective. China's wall is 13 miles long.
Okay, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to wait till next time, okay?
Until next time.
Yes.
All right.
All right, then. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show. So we'll talk later anyways regarding the next topic, okay?
Yeah, I'm free all day. Just give me a holler.
All right, then we'll do. Thank you very much, everyone that has been watching, commenting, liking, and also just showing me love. Thank you very much. Just like I say, if you want to discuss anything on my channel, you want people to basically hear what you have to say, Rene Marcus is basically open for everyone. Just send me an email and tell me what your topic it's all about, and I'll definitely take the time to have you on my live stream. Thank you very much, and I love you all. Goodbye.